Well, it's a very warm welcome and thank you for joining us on this independent off-tube studio commentary. Our referee, Chris Kavanagh, has just got the game underway. It's Everton taking on Brentford here at Goodison Park. And a game which hopefully will show more goals than what it's shown in the last 2 seasons. Everton have won this fixture 1-0 in the previous 2 seasons. Brentford have had a little bit of joy here at Goodison early on in their Premier League tenure. But the last 4 games, Everton are unbeaten against Thomas Frank's side. And they'll be using that to try and get a positive lift today, because it hasn't actually been that good for Everton at home this season, whereas on the other hand Brentford have been poor away from home with no points at all on the board this season, despite taking the lead in many of their away games. So with all that combined, it's going to be quite difficult to call this one, but it's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz and Ben White taking you through the action. Ben, how do we see this one going today? Everton at home will still feel as though they're favourites, I think.
It might be, Paul, but in your preview I think you analysed it perfectly, that there's so many interesting statistics ahead of this game, with Brentford's woes on the road and Everton struggling at home this season, and with Brentford scoring so many goals but also conceding the same amount against an Everton side that do still struggle to find the back of the net despite investing in the summer over new attacking players. Time will tell, but perhaps the decent head-to-head record against the Bees, paired with the fact that at any moment their form at Goodison could turn around, and then you could be trying to back Everton, but with Brentford being so inconsistent this season, you never know what result you're going to get with them. You might be guaranteed excitement at the bare minimum, but as for a result, it's tough to tell.
It is hard to tell, really, isn't it? But Everton now trying to get forward. A long ball from Pickford towards the edge of the Bees penalty area. It's headed away, still kept alive here by McNeil. Challenge coming in there from Norgard, putting that one out for a throw to the home side. This is one of 5 Premier League games available on our service right now. Arsenal, Forest, Villa, Palace, Bournemouth, Brighton and Fulham, Wolves are the other games kicking off right now at 3 o'clock. Man City against Spurs is the 5:30 offering in the Premier League. Just to remind you, it finished Leicester 1, Chelsea 2 in the early game today. Ball now back at the edge of the Brentford penalty area here. Collins trying to get the ball away. It's not a good ball though, straight through towards Branthwaite. Jared White, we're now playing this one back towards James Tarkowski, former Brentford man who left the Bees when they were still in the Championship to join Everton. Well, in fact, I take that back. He joined Burnley first, of course, before joining Everton. And it's Tarkowski on the ball again. He thought about a long ball. He does try a long diagonal ball here towards the left-hand side. Bit of space here now for Ndai. Just been blocked here by Vandenberg, but Ndai fancies taking one. Now he goes back towards Mikalenko. Left-footed ball into the box. It's just a little bit overhit. No one in the penalty area there for Everton could do anything with that, but Lindstrom is trying his best to recycle that one. Forces the throw off Damsgaard and leaves the ball here for Ashley Young to take the throw. I think it is important for Everton to start as the home side and really try and dominate, because Brentford are a team that they are entertaining to watch, but they're also not the best in defence, so that potentially could work in Everton's favour. Get your thoughts on that in a second, because here comes Mikalenko now with the ball over from the left-hand side. It's only cleared to the edge of the area. Still half a chance here. This is really good work, trying to get a shot in his Ndai, and it's into the side netting. He's claiming a corner kick. I'm not sure if referee Chris Kavanagh agrees. Well, for a start, it looked like a goal kick had been given, but now the referee has given a corner.
Yeah, just based off the players' reactions there, I think that it tells the full picture that he's eventually given the corner. But yeah, Collins must have got in the way. It's quick footwork from Ndiaye. He's tried to catch flicking out of the near post, and he must have taken a nick on it. But yeah, going back to your previous point, starting on the front foot is always important at home. I know that I remember 2 years ago, Dwight McNeil scored inside 30 seconds against Brentford at Goodison. So of course it hasn't been as early on this occasion, but they've started well, and here is McNeil on the ball.
Yeah, it's a short corner. They're taken back towards Lindstrom. His ball into the box is headed away by Collins. It drops. Oh, and it's a strike coming in. It's a fabulous save there from Flecken, because the strike from Idrissa Gueye was on target anyway. Then it takes a big deflection, and it's that the goalie coach here from Brentford will be very proud, because it's those ones that they practice so much in training, that deflection just at the edge of the 6-yard box, and Flecken reacts well.
He does, yes. Calvert-Lewin, it adds to the original effort from Idrissa Gueye, and pure instinct and reactions from Flecken to keep it out. His momentum is almost taking him the other way, where the original strike was going from Idrissa Gueye, but then flicked towards the near post, and yeah, fine stop there from the Brentford number 1. It is another corner.
Yeah, going to be an in-swinger here from McNeil. Looks like there won't be a short option this time. He's going to try and swing this one in. We've got early goals elsewhere to tell you about in just a moment. Here comes McNeil's ball in. It's all the way towards the back post. Tarkowski heads it across the 6-yard box, straight onto the head of Ethan Pinnock, who heads it away towards the edge of the area. It's kept alive here by Idrissa Gueye. Tries a left-footed cross this time, and it's header there from Calvert-Lewin, which can't quite get it on target, and it deflects away for a goal kick. So it's Aston Villa 0, Crystal Palace 1, and it's Ismaila Sarr with the goal there for Palace. It's also Bournemouth 0, Brighton 1. and it's João Pedro with a goal there for Brighton. So a couple of early goals in the Premier League. And there was a goal for Arsenal, it looks like, inside the first 6 minutes, but a VAR decision has put pay to that. It may well be that they're still reviewing that as to whether... No, in fact, yeah, there is still a review going on with that one, so there may be an early goal for Arsenal at home to Forest. But Brentford playing out from the back. They don't even reach the halfway line before Everton win the ball back. Lindstrom then finds Idrissa Gueye, who goes for goal, and he's wide this time. But he's got his shooting boots on today, Idrissa Gueye. He does like a shot from outside the box. Scored a couple of beautiful goals over the years, but this one, it was always angling away.
It was, yeah. He's no stranger, is he, as you mentioned, to trying his luck from distance. He's playing a bit more of an attack-minded role this season under Sean Dyche, with them happy to press on defenders, and paired against Abdoulaye Doucouré in midfield, where he usually is the more advanced midfielder. It's often the case, as we're looking now, where Brentford played out the back. Idrissa Gueye is in the attacking penalty area, but he has to scramble back now, as that's good work from Wissa.
It is. Branthwaite initially won the ball back there for Everton, but Wissa robbed him of it, and now Brentford can use that. It's Norgard playing it out towards the left-hand side. Here is Lewis Potter getting towards the edge of the area. He fancies a go for goal. It's charged down by Tarkowski at the edge of the box, and now it's McNeil trying to get the ball away for Everton. He finds Ndiaye, and Ndiaye up towards the halfway line, gets it back towards McNeil, and it's opened up for Everton. McNeil heading towards the penalty area. He's got Calvert-Lewin on his right. That's where the ball's gone. Calvert-Lewin with the effort takes a deflection, and it's into the arms of Flecken. Head in his hands there from McNeil, because I think he was expecting a cross back there from Calvert-Lewin. In the end, it was a tame effort that deflected into the arms of Flecken.
Yeah, his first and second touch, Calvert-Lewin, it took him away from goal, and B, the better option, as you say, I think, was to then find McNeil once again. But it's a very open game so far. 6.5 minutes on the clock, and where Brentford finally get their opening shot away, it's been a decent start for the Toffees, and at least from the neutral perspective, we're hoping it could continue. But very open at the moment.
Absolutely, and it's Everton are certainly getting more of the joy so far in terms of attacking possession. Brentford have barely been able to get into the Everton half. There was just that one run a few moments ago, and straight off the back of that, Everton went on a counter-attack. The goal at the Emirates has been disallowed, so it is still goalless between Arsenal and Forest. There was an offside that saves Forest's clean sheet for the time being. Now it's Ethan Pinnock with a long ball down the left-hand side. It's a bouncing ball, which Damsgaard is chasing, but in the end, Tarkowski gets ahead to that one, and Pickford comes out, stops it from going out for a corner. 7.5 minutes on the clock. It is goalless here at Goodison, independent off-tube studio commentary. But certainly a better start here for the Toffees. The next game for these two sides, Everton will be playing away from home against Manchester United. That is a 1:30 kickoff next Sunday, whereas Brentford are at home to Leicester City next Saturday. But here come Everton again on the attack. McNeil gets to the edge of the area, drags his shot a long way wide though. The central midfield is almost non-existent at times here for Brentford. Everton are finding spaces to get to the edge of the Brentford box. It's just once they get there, the choices haven't been quite right so far.
Yeah, they haven't. And McNeil is another player who always finds delight in long-range efforts. He had quite a bit of time to pick his spot. You saw him look up at Flecken's goal, and it was obvious where he was going to intend to play the ball, but didn't really pay off. Looking at the replay of the Calvert-Lewin deflected effort, he's ran wide of goal when Lindstrom was also in the area. Could have been better options, but yeah, the attack has been lively from Everton so far, who, as we have mentioned in the preview and in the minutes that have alluded so far, they are struggling to convert chances into goals. 6 shots already at Flecken's net, but no real clear-cut one yet, but there was a fine save, let's not forget, from Flecken.
There was a fine save for that one effort that was on target. 6 efforts on goal, one of them was on target, but that's not bad really, is it? Considering we've barely had 9 minutes on the clock. Everton have already had 6 attempts on goal. Brentford are trying to push forward themselves now. That one effort from Lewis Potter that was charged down is their only effort on goal. It's Mbumo's ball into the box now from the right-hand side, headed up in the air by Tarkowski first time, gets onto the second ball as well. Norgard keeps it alive for Brentford. It's hooked up in the air, and eventually it's headed clear, which should be kept in play here by Lindstrom on the right-hand side. He does really well. And options here for McNeil. Decides to go back towards the edge of his own penalty area. Branthwaite now moving it forward. Finding Idrissa Gueye. Abdoulaye Doucouré has just dropped a little bit deeper now. It's an interesting defensive midfield there for Everton, because both Idrissa Gueye and Abdoulaye Doucouré can very happily play as number 10s if needed. So it's that nice flexibility that Sean Dyche can have in his central midfield. But Brentford now trying to exploit that gap, maybe with Mbeumo. He gets away from Idrissa Gueye, just about, finds Norgard, and then it's Jensen down the right-hand side in towards Wissa. No offside, the cross comes in. And there was a player diving across. I think it might have been Janelt trying to get on the end of that at the edge of the 6-yard box, but it's Pickford with the save.
It is, and he's obviously very confident that it wouldn't have reached Janelt because he's stayed centre of goal where Janelt made the run to the near post. Thomas Frank, that is, wanting his players higher up as Everton will have possession around the back. But an interesting effort there where Pickford at least was confident that he'd claim the ball, but as you're saying, it's a midfielder in Janelt making the late run into the area, teasing ball into the box, but not too close to him.
Everton in possession now here. Doucouré finding Idrissa Gueye. Quick ball out towards the left-hand side. Here is Ndiaye now, heading into the penalty area. There's no real effort to try and stop him. Then he gets the ball into the 6-yard box. That is stopped by Nathan Collins. And then Jensen finding Mbeumo, but Mbeumo runs into the ball. Couldn't quite control it first time. And Ndiaye gets in his way, and Everton have it back. It's Doucouré's ball into the box now. It's into Calvert-Lewin. He's been forced wide. His ball into the 6-yard box is stopped by Nathan Collins, but there won't be a corner kick for Everton, because as it turns out now, the offside flag is up, and Calvert-Lewin had just gone a little bit too soon there. So it will be a free kick to Brentford, but this is the sort of start of the game that I actually was expecting, really. I know that Brentford have been famous, or they were famous for a little period this season for scoring goals inside the first minute or two, but actually they aren't the best travelling team. Well, they're not doing well at all this season. They've been struggling for any kind of points despite taking a few early leads. And it's almost like they've been maybe almost scared into being a little bit more conservative, a little bit more defensive at the start of this game, and Everton are able to exploit that.
Yeah, because they know their talents, don't they, Paul, and their goal-scoring prowess this season, but it must weigh on their minds. It is the worst possible form that you can have on the road with defeats from all such 5 trips in the league this season. It can give a boost to Everton, who, as we say, are struggling for form. We say that they've only lost one of the last 7 in the league, and yet that doesn't necessarily tell the full story with Sean Dyche's side. Where there is pressure mounting on the manager with the proposed takeover, as and when that does happen. But of course, pressure on Everton as well, and at Goodison Park with the final season. It's a game that requires strong mentality from either of these two teams to get over this plateau. It
does, and so just as we say that, Brentford are finally getting a little bit more joy inside the Everton half. It was a ball in from Damsgaard, which was sort of shanked up in the air there by Tarkowski, but credit to the Everton captain, because he quickly sort of runs underneath it and makes sure that it's not a corner, it's just a throw. Bit of a wry smile there from Tarkowski as well. He knows that that entire mess was of his making, really. But Brentford do have a couple of long throw specialists, and their sort of original long throw man, Matthias Jensen, is back in the team today. So he's across on that left-hand side now, drying the ball and trying to get as much grip on it as he can to launch this one into the penalty area, although they do sometimes like to have a little bit of a deception there. Janelt was there potentially for a short throw, but it is going to be Jensen now launching this one into the penalty area. Flicked on at the near post, and then it's dropping towards Vandenberg, whose strike goes wide in the end. And I'm not sure if there was an offside, because everyone seemed to stop for a brief moment there. But in any case, the ball has gone out of play. We'll see from this replay here. It's Branthwaite's header. And actually, no, it was a decent effort that from Vandenberg, but it just swerves the wrong way away from the post.
Yeah, it was always swinging wide, but maybe just Pickford appealing that there was no touch on the way. He was confident it was going wide of the mark, but it's always been a benefit to Thomas Frank's games, the long throw. And with the defenders high up, including Vandenberg, that tried his luck. It wasn't all too far away. They've responded well of Brentford in these last 5 or so minutes after the more intense start from Everton, but this is good work from Calvert-Lewin on the right-hand side now.
Superb work from Calvert-Lewin there. He's surely going to get his side a free kick after all of that as well. I think that Pinnock's unhappy there, the Jamaica international there for Brentford, but I don't think he's got too much of an argument. It seems to me like Calvert-Lewin was always got his body in the way of the ball, and there's not much of a touch there from Pinnock, but in that sort of situation, I don't think that Calvert-Lewin would go over on his own, so I think there is enough of an argument to say that should be a free kick.
Yeah, and I think a lone striker who's always facing away from goal, he's almost A, hoping for support, or B, hoping for a touch to go down and win the free kick, and that's exactly what Calvert-Lewin has done with the chance from the far side, as Lindstrom is over this one. For a lone striker, I guess that's part of your game, and particularly for Calvert-Lewin, who's always so physical.
Absolutely, yes. Lindstrom, the lone Dane in this Everton team. Of course, Brentford with a very strong Danish thread in their team, but a cross coming in from him now from the right-hand side. It's headed away towards the edge of the area. It's Mikolenko's ball back into the box, headed clear back towards the edge of the area. Mikolenko trying to keep the ball alive, but Collins heads it away, and then Wissa with a long ball over from right to left, and it's Bumo chasing this one. He gets there just ahead of Lindstrom, but he needs some support as well. Abdoulaye Doucouré is back to cover. That's really good work. Well, actually, looking at that, trying to see where the ball has gone in the end. I think both sets of players wanting that as their ball. I think that Mbumo a little bit unhappy there that maybe Doucouré was just leaving a bit of a foot in there as well. But the ball was there to be won. I think it's just been given as a throw on to Brentford and nothing else. Referee Chris Kavanagh just allowing this throw on now with Jensen coming across to take it. And I can tell you that Arsenal have taken the lead against Nottingham Forest. They had already had a goal disallowed, but Bukayo Saka now has given Arsenal the lead there on 15 minutes. Here comes Jensen's ball. It's a long ball launched into the penalty area. It flicks off a couple of players, and the referee has decided that it's come off Branthwaite last. I think a bit of a word there with Pickford as well. I don't know if Branthwaite was expecting maybe his goalkeeper going to giving him a shout. There were too many players, I think, in front of Branthwaite for Pickford to say leave it. So I think the defender's got to go for it there. And Brentford have their first corner.
Yeah, they do. And again, it's coming from the long throw-ins on that far side where there's so many bodies in the area. You can anticipate an extra deflection before it arrives to you, but it can always still surprise you when it does happen. And it nicks off Jared Branthwaite and out for the corner where the vast majority of those that were up for the throw-in have remained.
Yes, taken short here, come back to Jensen. Jensen then whips that one into the 6-yard box. Too much whip on it though. No one in a Brentford shirt can get on the end of that one. And it's away for a goal kick. Jensen, that's right footer on the left-hand side. He had enough of an angle to do an in-swinging corner already, but he wanted to play that short and then try to get it into the box. No one in a Brentford shirt able to get on the end of it. So Pickford now waiting to restart play. And there's still a couple of really big players missing for Brentford in terms of injuries. We know that Aaron Hickey's going to be missing until the start of next season. That's almost a full 2 years that Hickey's going to miss out of his career. Really, really tough on the Scotland international. Rico Henry is slowly but surely getting back to first team action. But really important news for Brentford is that Ivan Toney's replacement, who was signed in the summer, Igor Thiago from the Belgian league, is on the bench this afternoon. In typical Brentford style, he got signed in the summer, played an hour against AFC Wimbledon in a pre-season friendly, scored twice, came off complaining with a bit of knee pain and ended up being out for 4 months. So it's good news that he's finally in a position to get fit and get back on the bench. As far as looking at that Everton bench, well, a couple of big players as well that Sean Dyche can call on, of course. Beto scoring a couple of late goals off the bench this season. Mangala as well probably would be pushing for a start, but that defensive midfield too of Gay and Doucouré are going to be difficult to break up, I think.
Yeah, I suspect so, and you've already mentioned that they are two players happy to jump up in attack, and with the energy that Idrissa Gueye has always had in his career, and even more surprising nowadays given that he is well into his 30s, he's never afraid to be racing back. As you see there, they are quite high, the two Everton holding midfielders, as Brentford are playing out of the back. But both with a decent connection. So many years at Everton, the two of them. Now, of course, Idrissa Gueye with 2 stints to his name for the Toffees, and with one of the most experienced players on the pitch for them as he slides into a tackle there on Damsgaard. I think he sees the responsibility that he has in the team.
He does, yeah. Well, Damsgaard's furious there. I mean, it was a good challenge there from Idrissa Gueye, but I'm not sure he deflected that ball back off Mikel Damsgaard, as the linesman was suggesting. Everton taking the throw on quickly, and then Branthwaite with a long ball up towards Calvert-Lewin. It just gets away from the Everton number 9, and then it's Pinnock going back towards his goalkeeper, Mark Flecken, who was certainly very busy in the first 10 minutes of this game, but the last 6 or 7 minutes he's become a bit of a spectator now.
There he has, and where Pickford has had a few involvements, he hasn't exactly been threatened that much in the game so far, but maybe now with this attack it's laid back from Norgard though, but Van den Berg keeps it alive.
He does. Van den Berg's ball out towards Mbumo is cut out by the sliding challenge there of Mikolenko. It's out for a throw to Brentford around about the halfway line here on the right-hand side. Vandenberg waiting to restart play, but the only option really is to go back towards Collins. He's being closed down by Calvert-Lewin. So the ball now played back towards Mark Flecken. He plays it out quickly for Pinnock, as Brentford looking to move the ball around inside their own half, but 5 Everton players pressing, 6 Everton players pressing here inside the Brentford half, despite the Bees only just being inside their half of the field. So it really does show that Sean Dyche wants to put pressure here on Brentford. Don't allow them to get into that attacking passing mode that they like to be in. Back with Flecken again. And Collins looking up. You can imagine, yes, Branthwaite's pressing into the Brentford after that Everton offside line Can't quite see it on the off-tube pictures that we're getting, but they're going to be very high up the field here trying to restrict Brentford. And Mbumo's early ball is charged down by Mykolenko, and then combination of Ndai and McNeil keep Everton in position. Great run this from McNeil. He's into the box, goes for it with his right foot, and in the end it's a curling effort over the bar, but it really opened up very nicely in front of Dwight McNeil. Maybe just took a little too long to take the shot, but he needed to set himself as well.
He did have to set himself, and as you say, he's had a lot of time. I think he's always hesitant to have an effort to goal with his right foot. He's so one-footed as McNeil, but the left that he does have is fantastic. But I think he knew that it wasn't possible, as Collins had done well to prevent that option for the Everton number 7, so forced onto his right. Nevertheless, they were earning a corner from... a goal kick regardless. In the end, it was swiped from McNeil. But it did open up for him. It was just that hesitation, as you say, A, to take too long on the strike, and B, to move on to his weaker foot.
Bearing in mind, that was all from Brentford being in possession in their own half. They just lost the ball on the halfway line, and 2 passes later, McNeil was breaking into the box. So certainly, Brentford needs to have a little bit more of a safety net there. If they do lose the ball inside their own half, still they can't make it that easily for Everton to get into their penalty area. Another goal in the Premier League to tell you about. In fact, we are officially now the only goalless game in the Premier League this afternoon. After that, a goal from former Toffee Alex Iwobi, putting Fulham 1-0 up against the Wolves. So it's Arsenal 1, Forest 0, Villa 0, Palace 1, Bournemouth 0, Brighton 1, and now Fulham 1, Wolves 0, and it's still goalless here at Goodison Park. But it's still being played at a decent pace. Both teams are still trying to get forward in this one. Yeah,
and there's been early goals in the other games, and we have had the chance of an early goal in ours, but for a fine save from Flecken. And with Brentford games all season long, averaging 4 goals in each of the games that they've featured in, shows, or at least gives us hope in the final 70 plus minutes that remain. But for the time being, there's been a slight change in pace attacking wise from both teams. Collins forced into launching that into the stands after a wayward ball back to him. It didn't reach McNeil nevertheless, but you just get the sense that at any second it can burst into life, like with mistakes like that, and Everton are happy to charge men forward when they do have the attack.
Absolutely, but the issue I think for Brentford is that they have that space to try and play out from the back, but then if they lose the ball, Everton have got so many players pressing, and they're doing that again. Great run here from Branthwaite, gets all the way to the Brentford penalty area, plays it to Mykolenko. It's back with Jared Branthwaite, but the big man, he's not got a bad left foot on him, but it's not really his first skill, is it, crossing the ball into the box? So that one is straight into the arms of Flecken.
Yeah, at least it's an outlet, and a surprise that he's high up the field. Of course, it's often the duty of Mykolenko or McNeil if he's drifted out into that left side of midfield. Flecken with a risky but brilliant ball into the centre circle that evaded a couple of blue shirts that allows them to continue forward. But for McNeil, it's a different role for him this season. He's playing behind the striker rather than out on the wing, where crossing is always one of his strong points. But they're trying something different this year with Ndiaye.
Well, they're trying something here. Brentford now with Matthias Jensen, early ball into the box from quite a long way out into Johan Wissa, which is easily cleared. It's back towards the halfway line, headed on by Nathan Collins. The loose ball drops here to Ilian Ndiaye. He can't quite control it though. It's now one back for Brentford here by Yanel. He plays it into Mbuma, but he runs straight into Abdoulaye Doucouré, and then he's out towards Ashley Young, and Everton do finally get the ball away from their own half. Lindstrom then finding McNeil, who has options left and right, chooses to go central for the time being on his own. He's got Mykolenko coming in on the overlap down the left-hand side. It's a good ball into the Ukrainian international, but it's not a good ball from Mykolenko himself. He didn't need to take that one first time. He hits it low, and it's easily dealt with by Collins, and then Damsgaard plays it into Jensen, who wants a free kick. He's not going to get one. Everton have the ball back here with Ndiaye. And 4 players waiting at the edge of the area. If Ndiaye can find a cross, he can't. He has to go back in towards Idrissa Gueye. And Everton just happy to hold on to possession here in midfield. Doucouré then with as he rushed that one, he turned and then just fired the ball in without looking who was in the box. And Brentford now with a chance to get the ball away. It's the referee played an advantage, which lasted about a second there for Brentford. They lose the ball, and Everton have it back again now. It's McNeil's ball into the box. It just gets away from Lindstrom. Will he get there a second time? He can't quite get it on the run. That's good work from Lewis Potter to dispossess him. And then Damsgaard gets the ball away before it goes back to Lewis Potter, and then Pinnock with a low clearance up towards the halfway line straight to an Everton player. So for the time being, Brentford can't get the ball away, but we are over the halfway line now. 24 minutes gone. It is goalless here between Everton and Brentford, and it will be Ben to take us through to half-time.
Yeah, cheers, Paul. They're keeping the pressure on Everton at the moment with everyone behind the ball for Brentford. That was before the ball came to Idrissa Gueye, who tries to thread it out wide for McNeil, intercepted by Wissa, but comes back to Ashley Young, the now 39-year-old, can play it inside for Doucouré. Edge of the box with the layoff by Iliman Ndiaye. Branthwaite's high up the field as well. He'll find Mykolenko, who's up against Brian Mbeumo. Infield again for Doucouré. Everton happy to not play a killer ball through at the moment, and in the end it's a wayward one that forces them to lose possession. And I think Szczerbakowicz had no choice but to bring down Damsgaard for risk of a counter-attack. But Doucouré with a couple of stray balls in the last minute or so, taken quickly by the Bees. It's with Mbeumo on the right flank, looking to cut in on his left foot, plays the ball into the area. Visser was the target, but it's cleared out by Branthwaite, further forward from Doucouré. McNeil can get there ahead of Collins, but Collins with the vital interception. I think it was with his hand though, when the referee has awarded a free kick against the former Wolves defender, and preventing a quick take with the ball still rolling. Just from the palm of Collins there.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that it's accidental, but then at the same time it helps him so much that the referee couldn't ignore that. Once he's seen that, he has to stop play there, I think.
Yeah, it's completely gone the other way and almost to Brentford's advantage, but seen by the official, and back in play with Everton. 25 minutes on the clock, and Everton 0, Brentford 0 is the current scoreline, with Szczerbakowicz, one of the players who's seen most of the ball so far, looks to shift it out wide for Lindstrom, but won't reach him. It's Lewis Potter that reclaims the ball. Now with Mikael Damsgaard, looks to float it to the edge for Visser, and again cleared out by Jared Branthwaite. Gay into McNeil now, looks to play the quick through ball into Calvert-Lewin. He's forced wide, but could get the shot away, and he does, and it's forced a save from Flecken. Again, a tight angle for the Everton number 9 to try and beat the Brentford number 1, but a very quick attack, a quick transition there from the Toffees. Good through ball from McNeil, and the pace of Calvert-Lewin allowed him to get ahead of the back line of the Bees, but with Flecken covering his near post and getting his left boot in the way, it prevents the first goal.
Well, it's 2 stages of an offside line there for Brentford. That's what allowed Calvert-Lewin to be onside. Once he gets into that position, he's firing across. He would have done his research. He knows that Flecken isn't the best goalkeeper in the league when it comes to covering his near post. That's why he had to make a probably more athletic save than it needed to be. If he'd been covering that near post, he may have just been able to make a standing save. But Everton now with a consolation prize of a corner.
Yeah, they are, and the third worst record of scoring coming up against Brentford, conceding 22 so far. It could give them a boost as it's played to the back for Tarkowski. Heads it back into dangerous position. Flecken can't get there, but the referee has awarded a free kick in favour of the Brentford keeper. A bit of contact on him that prevented his punch.
Yeah, I mean, these days goalkeepers only need to show the referee that they can't quite jump cleanly for the ball, and that often is a sort of trigger in the referee to say, well, he must be being fouled then. But we'll see here as Tarkowski puts that ball in. Yeah, I mean, Doucouré has an arm out for a second. I'm old enough to remember a time when that wouldn't have even registered with the referee at all as being any kind of obstruction. But on that occasion, I think referee deciding that it just stopped Flecken going for that one. And Brentford will be very happy because, again, we're just going through a little phase of Everton getting on top now.
Yeah, we are. And they've just turned to free kick, Everton, after winning the ball back. And away they go again. An intense start from Sean Dyche's men, who, as I say, with just 1 defeat in the last 7. Gives the indication that they are performing better than they are. Here's Lindstrom in the area now. Looks to get an early ball into the box. It'll be another corner for the Toffees, blocked by Vitaly Janelt at source. But Lindstrom, on loan from Napoli this season, hasn't had tons of opportunities, and when he has been on the field, he hasn't necessarily been a top performer, but will have his chance this afternoon as McNeil goes over for this one. Branthwaite makes his way into the area. Plenty of height in the 11 for Everton. Tarkowski and Calvert-Lewin at the moment marking each other before surely dispersing, but with every ball going to the back post. We'll wait and see. It was taken short, but will go to the back post with McNeil. It's always the target, the former Brentford defender in James Tarkowski, but it doesn't necessarily pay off, and with the last 2 instances that we've seen, it's a bit of a waste of a set-piece opportunity.
Yeah, as I say, it's not a bad idea to have Tarkowski's very good in terms of his attacking header, so it's not a bad idea to try and pick him out. But if they're going to do that every single time, eventually Brentford are going to read that, or there's going to be an opportunity to try and for Flecken to come out, or indeed for somebody to mark Tarkowski. But yeah, 8 efforts from Everton, of 2 of which have been on target, 2 efforts from Brentford, and neither of them have been on target. Still goalless here at Goodison as Brentford play out from the back and almost give it away straight away.
Yeah, they do. Tarkowski won the header. He, as I say, did used to play for Brentford, scored against them, in fact, in the one of 2 games between these 2 sides in the league last season. It was a 3-1 victory for Everton in West London on that occasion. That is what has formed part of a winning streak of 3 games against Thomas Frank's men.
3 wins and unbeaten in 4 as well. Yeah. So yeah, it's been they've become a difficult team here for Thomas Frank's side, Everton. That's for sure. That's I think that win at the GTEC last season surprised a few people just because of how Brentford normally are very confident at home, but they really just opened up too much, and Everton were able to take advantage.
Yeah, it was in the early months of that campaign where Everton didn't have the best of starts, and It was a welcome victory for Sean Dyche on that occasion. It's coming up to nearly 2 years in charge now of the Toffees after a difficult spell in these final years of Farhaj Mashiri with managers coming and going, but how long Sean Dyche has remaining with the prospective owners of the Freaking Group coming in, time will tell, as Tarkowski is under pressure in his own area, but manages to navigate himself around Johan Visser and finds Idrissa Gana Gueye. They've got beyond the midfield of Everton. They've worked it well from the back. The back pedal of the Brentford defence shows that they could be a promising attack this for the Toffees. It comes to Iliman Ndiaye, looks to curl his effort towards the far post but can't get the height on it, and Brentford can clear. One back now though with Ashley Young. He finds McNeil with the short ball inside for Idrissa Gueye. Layoff from Lindstrom to give it back to the Senegalese, who hopes to win a free kick, but the advantage is played by the referee. Doucouré now to the left for Mikolenko, inside for Ndiaye. A bright spark to Everton's lacklustre campaign so far as Tarkowski lofts it in, cleared on the edge, and maybe now a chance for Visser to come forward. He is the most advanced player at the moment for the Bees, but will hold on to the ball and can find Ethan Pinnock. A couple of other goals to report, in fact just the one extra with Wolves getting an equaliser at Craven Cottage. Been a woeful start to their season, largely owing to their incredibly difficult fixture list, but coming up against Fulham, they could give them a boost, and Mateus Cunha has brought them level just after the half-hour mark there. As I say, with goals nearly guaranteed in every Brentford game, we are the only 3 o'clock fixture without a goal so far, but with Everton in their last 2 league games failing to score, it does show the struggles that they have. At the very least, though, they have defensive strengths. In fact, just conceding 2 goals since the start of October is the best record out of any Premier League side in that time period. So we have a team that can't score and doesn't often concede against a team that does score and does often concede. So interesting that it remains goalless at the moment.
Yeah, I must admit, I thought there would have been a goal by the half-hour mark, but a chance here now for Brentford as Visser finds a run here for Lewis Potter, who is offside. It goes for goal, and it's not a bad effort, but the flag had gone up.
Yeah, the referee, I think, where they are encouraged to continue play, it almost stopped in the middle there, the referee. The linesman also raising his flag eventually. But, Lewis Potter, a couple of years now at Brentford since his move from Hull City, and cementing his place a bit more for Thomas Frank.
Yeah, I mean, I think when he first arrived, he wasn't quite, he didn't quite have that confidence, that experience yet, and he was sort of being used as a sort of emergency left back, being asked to push forward, and it wasn't really his sort of ideal position. He's in that sort of role today, but he's a much more experienced player now, I think, and the fact that he's been able to get a good few games for Brentford under his belt in that left wing role, I think, has really helped him as well, as Mbeumo gets pretty much shoved off the ball there by Ndiaye. No free kick though, and Everton now on the attack.
Yeah, and maybe defensive duties for Lewis Potter, who's up against Ashley Young. Of course, he himself was a winger, then turned full back, as it's laid back to McNeil, who isn't too far away there from the post. And in fact, there must have been a nick on the way as the referee awards a corner over on the far side. But they're racking up the shots, Everton, and where not necessarily all of them are threatening. A lot of them are resulting in set pieces.
They are. I mean, Calvert-Lewin just makes a quick decision to lay this one off, and that shot does get a slight nick. And I mean, Flecken was down low. I'm not sure if he would have got it had it been on target, but a chance now for Everton with this corner.
Neil over it once again, and Calvert-Lewin is the man at the back post this time, with Tarkowski likely making the run forward. Plenty of blue shirts in there, and likewise plenty of red and white stripes to try and clear this one out. 2 Everton players lurking on the edge as well as Tarkowski charges forward. McNeil whips it again to the back post, but Flecken can intercept it cleanly this time, and can hold on to the ball to allow all the players to get out of the area. As you say, Paul, 5 away games this season, all ending in defeat, and maybe didn't necessarily strike confidence that up next was a trip to Goodison Park, where, as you say, they have a poor run of form in recent seasons, but they're withstanding the efforts at goal that Everton are creating so far, and maybe a chance for them to create some of their own now, with Mbeumo on the edge of the 18-yard box, just about getting into the area. We'll find Damsgaard, and they'll get a corner from that. It's a big deflection off the Danes' effort, and it fell nicely to him. And he is a player capable of striking from distance, but Tarkowski in the way.
Yeah, Everton have got to be careful of that, because it wasn't really much of an attack there from him. It was just a quick ball down the right channel from Vandenberg, picked out Mbeumo, who was onside, and he plays an early ball into Damsgaard, whose effort is charged down. It's only the second corner kick that Brentford have had to Everton's 5. But it is going to be left-footed and Bumo swinging it in here from the right-hand side.
Here it is. Only a minute ago they were defending a corner, and now with a chance to attack one themselves, as Norgard is one of many in the box at the moment, unmarked. Janelt also, as he makes his way to the back post. It will be, as you say, Brian Burmo with the in-swinging delivery towards the back stick, cleared out by Tarkowski, over to the edge for Lewis Potter. He'll find Damsgaard, looks to poke it forward, and fortunately for Illiman and Diai, he can just about find a teammate, but then Damsgaard intercepts the long ball forward, and a miscommunication between both he and Burmo sees it go out for a throw. And a wasted corner this time for Brentford.
A wasted corner, and actually to sort of spare the Brentford blushes a little bit, I think, even though Mbeumo and Damsgaard ran into themselves, and Mbeumo was actually running back from an offside position, so the flag went up after all of that anyway. But it was good work from Damsgaard to win the ball back, because you said the initial set piece wasn't particularly good. Again, Brentford aren't the only team guilty of overcomplicating set pieces. I just sometimes think a good whip ball into the box can cause a lot more confusion than trying to do all these short corners. But Everton now trying to play out from the back, and Brentford are still pressing it with 4 players at the edge of the box.
Yeah, Pickford's come way out of his area to send this one long. Will keep in play with Calvert-Lewin trying to nod it towards McNeil, but can be picked up by Nathan Collins. Aston Villa have got an equaliser now at home to Crystal Palace. Confirmation of the goal scorer as and when we do receive it, but with about 10 minutes to go in all of the 3 o'clock games, the goals continue to arrive in all of the other fixtures. Here's Damsgaard now, and space for Visser, through on goal at the moment. The flag stays down, Visser, and it's a great save from Jordan Pickford. And I think the flag has remained down with Visser timing his run to perfection. A man banging form, 7 goals in 8 Premier League appearances this season. But it's Pickford that comes out on top there.
He does. I mean, it's Branthwaite that's making a mistake there, because, I mean, in fact, Mikalenko as well. The two of them are way behind where Tarkowski is, and credit to Pickford. He sort of saves it with his legs just as he's being nutmegged almost, and the ball deflects off his thigh and out for a corner. But that's actually a very good save, because I always think it's such a difficult art for goalkeepers to manage those one-on-ones. If they come out too soon, they just get lobbed. If they stay on their line for too long, it's just going to be past either side of them. So Pickford did well just to time it, close down Wisser, and Brentford have a corner.
Yeah, back in the side in recent weeks after an injury, and bang back in form is Johan Visser. It's Burmo again with this corner, takes it short to Janelt, looks to give it back to the number 19. It's a deep cross. Pickford thought about coming. It's nodded back into the 6-yard area, but cleared out by Lindstrom. Lewis Potter gets there first, prods it into an area which Collins can retrieve the ball with. Over the top by Janelt, and Ashley Young taking no chances. And another corner for Brentford. I believe they're 4th, and Everton with 5. So both sides with plenty of set-piece opportunities in the game so far. On this occasion, it'll be on the far side for Brentford, but Collins will make his way into the area. 7.5 minutes left in this first half. Independent off-stream studio-based commentary, and where it does remain goalless between these two sides. It's certainly not through a lack of trying, with Visser arguably having the best chance of the game there, and Pickford coming out on top in that 1v1. Calvert-Lewin with a flick towards goal in the early minutes with a fine save from Flecken. So both keepers really resulting in this game without a goal so far, but perhaps with this corner swung into the near post, won't reach the intended target. Idrissa with a heavy touch, but can win the ball back. Now with Lindstrom, who's under pressure from 2 Brentford players. Will he win the free kick? The referee says no, as Ashley Young just out-muscles Vitaly Janelt there to gain possession back for the Toffees. He sends it long down the line, but already out of touch, I believe. But maybe an opportunity, a spell for Brentford to be on top.
Yeah, well, this is now a long spell where Everton can't get the ball over the halfway line as they look to try and stop these Brentford attacks. In fairness, that's a save from Pickford from the one-on-one is pretty much the only time he's really been called into action, other than trying to claim a couple of crosses. But certainly more possession for Brentford now inside the Everton half, and the throw from Jensen's a short one this time. A ball floated into the box. It drops into Pinnock. It might just drop to Wisser outside the 6-yard box. In the end, Pickford's claiming that he's been fouled. The ball that goes wide in the end. It was Norgard and Wisser that went for it. It looks like the Brentford captain Norgard might have just caught Jordan Pickford there.
Yeah, I think he's not too happy. Maybe the studs were showing, but he has a right to go for the ball there, does Norgard. I think Pickford's pointing that there is a mark from one of Norgard's studs. But, the set piece, Pinnock stays up. Of course, he's got a similar role, really, in an attacking sense to what James Tarkowski does for Everton, and he flicks it into a dangerous area. Visser, as you say, is there. Doesn't reach, he can't make contact, and Norgard comes flying in. It's a high stud shown on the right leg of Jordan Pickford. It's a sore one for the England keeper, and I'm sure he'll be Wanted the physio to come on for this one, but Norgard has every right, I think, to go for the ball. He's gone sliding in at the back post to try and prod it home because Whistle was unable to.
It was. I mean, we'd have to see this thing. I mean, obviously, any time that a player has a mark on his foot from studs, then he's going to be unhappy. But then at the same time, I mean, it's looking at that replay, the one replay we've seen so far. I'm not sure there's anything that Norgard could have done differently in terms of he has a right to go for the ball. And you can still see that Pickford is unhappy. I think he really wants VAR to have a look at this one. Now, is the referee coming across to have a look at the replay? I mean, as I say, we'll wait and see with this one because we haven't seen any kind of suggestion that from that sort of purple screen to say that VAR is looking at a potential red card. We've only seen one replay from a similar sort of angle that we saw from the live action, but we're hopefully now going to see the same replays that Chris Kavanagh is seeing. I mean, if this is decided that Norgard... Well, looking at that angle, I mean, Norgard does have a foot raised, but the ball is there to be won. He then catches... I don't know. I never like to say... I mean, what might save Norgard is the fact that his teammate Whistler's got the slightest nick on the ball, which just takes it away from him. I mean, if the referee gives a red card for this, I would be surprised, but then VAR has had a habit of surprising us.
Yeah, I don't know where I stand on this myself, really, Paul. I mean, the referee has seen enough now, and he makes his way back to the field. Norgard looking sheepish as he's chatting away with Abdoulaye Doucouré. Well, the decision has been made, but we've yet to see it. And as you say, there was no real indication of VAR until the referee was jogging towards the monitor. Signals, he's off. Christian Norgard has been sent off for the challenge on Jordan Pickford. It was a high boot on the Everton and England goalkeeper, and with 5 minutes left in the first 45, it's a boost for Everton after a decent spell from the Bees. There's 5 Brentford players surrounding the referee at the moment. It's an interesting one, isn't it, Paul? Because, as you say, he's going for the ball in the sense of trying to get a shot away. Of course, when really I think any player goes in for a 50-50 tackle in the middle of the pitch, they're also going for the ball. So, by that logic, I suppose that's what the officials have made their decision with. But even still, I don't know where I stand on this one.
This is the frustration, I think, with VAR is that you can almost justify anything in a footballing sense in terms of saying, well, is it deliberate, is it accidental, has he done... I mean, in terms of what Norgard has done, he has caught Pickford with his studs just below the knee. So, as you say, if you did that to an outfield player in the middle of the park, you could expect to get sent off. But then it's different when it's a bouncing ball into the 6-yard box. I mean, I've seen far worse challenges than that this season that haven't even been given a yellow. So it does seem, in that sense, I think he can deem himself very unlucky there, Christian Norgard. But then on the other hand, as I say, I can see it from the referee's point of view. I think that you can see that Thomas Frank is absolutely furious there. I think that, who knows, maybe Pickford's reaction has had some kind of influence on it as well. Thomas Frank gets a yellow card because I certainly couldn't broadcast what he was saying to the referee there, but you can make your own minds up as to what he was saying. He's clearly not happy there, Thomas Frank, but this changes the game completely now, of course. Brentford were just starting to get into a little bit of an ascendancy themselves. Now we're going to get probably 3 or 4 minutes of added time at the end of this first half, and Brentford in that time, and of course the whole of the second, are now down to 10 men.
Yeah, he looked absolutely incensed, Thomas Frank, so a yellow card for him and the direct red card for Norgard. A complete change in shape, you could argue, now for Brentford, as they have lost their middle man in a midfield 3, and a boost for the Toffees for the remainder of this game. Up against a team with 1 player fewer. Could give momentum to a side that have struggled to find the back of the net this season. Just 10 goals from what is now their 12th Premier League game. It's Lindstrom now, another Dane on the field as he gets a first-time ball into the area. Won't reach Calvert-Lewin though, and Flecken will take his time. A chance for Brentford to regroup. I think really now it's a case of getting into the changing rooms at half-time to allow Thomas Frank to reshuffle the pack in what is now 10 outfield players. Big decision made by the officials. I think when you add a shot into the equation of a 50-50, it does bring a bit more ambiguity with it, and I think Thomas Frank is trying to make the argument that he has every right to go for the ball. It's a decent header back from Ethan Pinnock. Of course, almost immaterial if Johan Visser had got on the end of the ball. Maybe the contact still would have been made from Norgard, but Pickford has gone more towards the Dane after Visser had missed his effort, as he tried to get onto the effort. Big decision, and is resulting in Everton playing with an extra man for the remainder of this game. Here is Dwight McNeil, just 1 minute left of the normal 45, but we'll likely see a couple of minutes added on with the intervention by VAR. Here is Ashley Young with chance to play it forward. Iliman Ndiaye comes out to the right, checks it back to his left foot, can find a target in the area. Attempted by a kick, won't pay off as Mikolenko goes for goal. It was Doucouré who tried the spectacular, and Mikolenko did go for goal, but blocked by Van der Berg.
Well, that would have been one for the collectors, but wouldn't it? Doucouré with an overhead kick to give Everton the lead just before half-time. But now you would expect Everton now to really step it up. They've still got a few minutes before the break, and in comes a ball in from Ashley Young.
Yeah, I think there's the slightest nick off of Calvert-Lewin. It might reach him again as it ricochets off of Van der Berg, but it's hooked into the main stand of Goodison Park there by the Brentford defenders, as understandably taken quickly by Everton. They want to end this half with a goal, as Ndiaye can play it back to Idrissa Gana Gueye. Over to the left for Mikolenko. 3 minutes is all that has been awarded by our fourth official.
Well, I'm assuming that's because they probably decided there was literally no time lost before that red card, which I suppose is fair. We've had sort of, there's not really been anything slowing the game down. There's been no physios coming on before that one. Just to tell you, it's still 1-1 between Villa and Palace, but Tielemans has missed a penalty there for Villa just before half-time.
Yeah, Everton continuing on the attack with 2.5 minutes left of the additional time. Lindstrom up against Lewis Potter, and a great tackle made there by the stand-in fullback, and wins a free kick as well for his efforts. As Lindstrom attempted to win the ball back. They're keeping up the intensity, Everton, of course, with now an extra man. They started this way in the game with when both teams had 11 men, and it was Everton that tried to get the early goal. Didn't pay off, but it's a huge boost to them now. Just looking at action at Villa Park again, after you say there's a missed penalty from Yuri Tielemans, Crystal Palace have sent the ball up the other end of the pitch and got themselves back in front for the second time. It's Devaney in the first minute, Justin Devaney, that is, in the first minute of added time there, to put a struggling Crystal Palace in front again.
That's right. One of our colleagues doing the commentary of that game has said that he's not heard of Devaney before. He's a young Northern Irishman, but he's starting for Palace today. Well, we're all going to hear about him now, of course, getting his first Premier League goal. But massive moment that for Everton, for Palace in retaking the lead there at Villa Park. They won at Villa Park, of course, a few weeks ago in the Carabao Cup, and I expected Villa to get some sort of revenge today, but it's looking like another tricky one for them this afternoon. Here come Everton again down the left-hand side. We've got about 90 seconds of injury time still to play.
Yeah, McNeil on the left this time with Ndiaye playing centrally. We'll get it back from Idrissa Gana Gueye. McNeil all too easily getting beyond the right-hand side there of the Brentford shape. Idrissa Gueye can win the ball back once again. It's Jensen who's trying to help out on that right-hand side now, with Visser and Burma almost playing a two up top. I think Damsgaard has gone into a midfield three for the time being, at least. We'll see if any changes are made at the break by Thomas Frank. There's a minute left of the three, with McNeil inside for Doucouré. 30 yards from goal, can shift it to the right where Ashley Young finds himself in space to run at. Kieran Lewis Potter up on his left foot now, can find a ball into the area, can't reach Calvert-Lewin. Gets a slight nudge from Collins, who clears it to Mikolenko. He leaves it for Idrissa Gueye. Now with Doucouré, maybe an opportunity for one last chance in the half for Everton, as Young plays it into the area over the heads of Calvert-Lewin and McNeil. Backs to the walls at the moment as Brentford hope to hold on, and they will now with another long-range effort from Idrissa Gana Gueye, and I think he's got a frustrated teammate chatting away with him, as there may have been a better option. Yeah, well, he's defending himself there, Idrissa Gueye, saying, well, look, I didn't see any other options, and there's been worse efforts on goal from Idrissa Gueye than that one. That's not actually too far away at all, though Flecken, standing where he was, could see that it was going wide, and that may be the last chance. It is the last chance of the first half. It is goalless here at Goodison Park. Everton 0, 10-man Brentford 0, and myself and Ben will be back for you in 15 minutes.